Quick demo of this tutorial. This is a step-by-step tutorial on how to implement CRUD operations like insert, update, delete, view, and search in C# application using MySQL Server. This is a demo project developed in this tutorial. Using this application, you can insert new records like this. All the inserted records are displayed in this data grid view. You can search existing records using this field. You can update existing records like this. And you can delete existing record. Hi friends, welcome to .NET Mob. In this video, I am going to show you how you can create a C# application to implement CRUD operations using MySqL DataBase. We will be implementing operations like insert, update, delete, view all, and search. I have already discussed how we can implement CRUD operation in MS SQL, and I have given the link in video description. You can go through that. Before starting this video, I would like to ask you a favor. If you found this video helpful, please thumbs up this video, and for more awesome videos like this, please subscribe to this channel .NET Mob. This is MySQL Workbench. I used to work on MySQL Server using MySQL Workbench tool. There are some other tools like dbforge, PHP admin, etc. We can do the same operations that I am going to do here in your database tools also. So without further explanation, let's get started. Let me log in into local instance. Double click on it. I don't want to enter a password for this local instance because I have saved this password inside MySQL Workbench. In the left side panel, you can see management, instance, performance, and schema. In this project, we are going to work with schema only. So I will expand the schemas panel. In this project, we are going to do these CRUD operations on a table called book. It contains basic details of book like book name, author, and description. So first of all, we have to create a database. For that, right click inside schemas panel, then click on create schema, then name your DB here. I will name it as book DB. Then click on apply here. So here you can see the corresponding MySQL query to create the schema. Then click on apply. Then click on finish here. Here you can see the newly created database book DB. Inside the DB, we have to create a new table. Right click on tables, then click on create table. Name your table here. I will name it as book. Then we have to enter column details here, book ID, and then we have book name as worker 45. Then we have author. Finally, we have description. And it is of the type 250, worker 250. Author will be worker 45, book will be worker 45, and I made this book ID column as primary key for the table, and I want to set it as auto increment, so we don't want to insert values into this book ID column. MySQL will take care of that. It will start from 1 and incremented by 1 upon new record insertion. In order to save this table, click on apply button here. Then you can see the corresponding MySQL query to create the table. Click on apply here. Click on finish. If you expand the tables node here, you can see the newly created table book. Next, I will create a Windows Form application in Visual Studio. Before that, we have to create some stored procedures for the project. In order to create a new stored procedure in Workbench, right click on stored procedures, then click on create stored procedure. Name your stored procedure here. I will name it as book add or edit. So in this stored procedure, I will do two operations. insert and update. Some of you may create different store procedure for insert and update, but I would suggest you to use same store procedure for insert and update operation. In most of the case, these two operations will have same parameter list. So if you can combine these store procedures, you can reduce number of codes in MySQL queries and C# code also. So let me show you how we can combine these two operations into one single store procedure. Inside this parenthesis, we have to pass parameters for this store procedure. First of all, we have underscore book ID for book ID column. Then we have book name. Try to enter same data type as that of column in the table. Then we have author as worker 45. Finally, we have description as worker 250. In store procedure parameter list, I will be using underscore as a prefix for parameter list to differentiate it from the actual column name. Here we need to write our MySQL query. First of all, I will check whether book ID is 0 or not. If it is 0, we will insert a record into book table. Insert into book, and then we have to pass column list. First of all, book name, then we have author, finally we have description. As I told you, we don't want to insert values into book ID column. It is auto incremented column. MySQL will take care of that. Now we have to pass values for this store procedure using parameter list. First of all, we have book name. After that, we have author. Finally, we have description. In the else part, we will update the table with the given ID. I will show you how you can do that. Update book set book name equals given book name. Then we have author finally description, where book ID is equal to given book ID. Finally, we will end our if else block. End if. Let me explain this to procedure in brief. We will pass these 4 parameters from C# code. If book ID is equal to 0, we will insert a new record into book table using the given parameters. In the else part, we will update the record with the given book ID. In order to create this stored procedure, click on apply here, then click on apply, click on finish, right click on store procedures, then click on refresh all. Under store procedures, you can see the newly created store procedure book, add or edit. Now we have to create 4 more store procedures. Let me create the remaining store procedures quickly. Right click on store procedures, then click on create store procedure. I will name this store procedure as book view all. In this store procedure, we will retrieve all the records from our table book. We don't have any parameter for this store procedure. Select star from book. Click on apply, then click on apply here, click on finish, Right click on store procedures, click on create store procedure. This store procedure name will be book view by ID, and we have a single parameter for this store procedure, book ID as integer. With this store procedure, we will retrieve the details of book with the given book ID. For that, select star from book where book ID equals to given book ID. That's it. Click on apply, click on apply, click on finish. Don't worry, you will understand the meaning or requirement of the store procedure in the later part. Right click on store procedures. We have to create two more store procedure. This store procedure name will be book delete by ID. Delete by ID, and we have one parameter here, book ID as integer. Here we are going to delete a record from our book table using the given book ID parameter. So delete from book where book ID equal to given book ID. Click on apply, click on finish. Now let's create the last store procedure. Its name will be book search by value, and we have a parameter search value 45. In this store procedure, we will retrieve the book record such that it contains search value either in book name or in author name. So let me write the query here. Select star from book. Here, watch me closely. Now I am going to write the work condition. Here is the trick. Where book name like, and we are going to use the function concat here, and inside that we have to append a percentage symbol in the both end of the parameter search value. That's it. So here I have used the like operator and we have used concat function. Here I have concatenated percentage symbol in the both end of search value parameter. In MySQL, you have to use concat function to append strings. If you are working with MS SQL, you can concat strings using the plus operator itself. And then we have used the wildcard operator like. So with this work condition, it will retrieve all the records which contains search value anywhere in the column book name. And we have to do the same operation in author column also. For that, I will add an OR operator here, then I will paste this same condition here and changing this column to author. That's it. Let me create this store procedure. For that, click on apply here, then click on apply, click on finish. That's it. If you right click on store procedures, then click on refresh all, you can see all the store procedures that we have just created. Now we have completed with this DB part. Now let's create our project. For that, let me open my Visual Studio. This is my Visual Studio 2013. Let's create the project. For that, you can click on this new project here, or you can go to file, then new, then project, or you can use the shortcut Ctrl Shift N. After that, it will open a new pop-up dialog box like this. From there, select Windows under Visual C Sharp, then select Windows Form application here. Then name your application here. I will name it as MySqL CRUD. Then from here you can select the location where you want to save this application. After that, click on OK. So here we have the brand new Windows Form application. For the purpose of simplicity, I am using Windows Form application, even though you can use this method in any C# application to implement CRUD operation using MySQL stored procedures. Inside the project, we have a default form, form 1. With this form, we will be implementing all CRUD operation. So let me add some controls into this form. Starting with this form, I have to change this form title form 1 here. For that, right click on the form, then click on property, or you can use the shortcut F4. So here you can see the properties of this form, and I want to change this text here to MySqL CRUD app. That's it. Now let's add few controls into this form. For that, open your toolbox. Some of you may not see this toolbox in the left panel. In that case, go to view, then click on toolbox here. We need controls like label, so label, then text box, then button. Finally, we need a data grid view. That's it. First of all, we have a label here, and corresponding text box is aligned with this label here. Like this, we need two more label text box pair. For that, I can select these two controls like this and hold control, then drag and place it here. So we have one copy of this label text box pair. Like this, we need one more label text box pair, and below that we need three buttons. Hold control, then drag, that's it. And we have a data grid view, and we need a text box for search purpose. So click on this, then hold, then drag, click on this button, then hold, then drag. That's it. For now, I will pause this recording, and after arranging and adding some colors to this form elements, I will be back. Boom! I'm completed with the form design here. I hope you like these three color combos here. By the way, if you have any doubts or comments, please comment below in the comment box below. Even if you are going to criticize my application design, you can do that beneath this video. First of all, I have changed font size and family to Sergio UI 20 PT. After that, I have named these controls appropriately, and you can see here txt book name, txt author, txt description, and I have made this text box as multi-line. And this one is btn save, btn delete, btn cancel, and txt search for searching records inside the book table, and here is the button to trigger the search, and we have the dgv book data grid view to show the results. Here you can see the update button. I'm going to do the update operation with this same save button. You can download this project source code with MySqL DB script from the link given below in video description. First of all, we are going to insert a new record into book table using this save button. For that, we are going to make use of the click event of save button. To generate the click event, double click on save button. So it will create the event in the background. Inside this event, we are going to write the code for inserting new record into the table book. First of all, I am going to declare a string variable for connection string. Connection string My connection string is ready here, so I'm going to paste it here. First of all, we have server. In my case, it is localhost, then database name. So this is bookdb here. Then we have user ID as root, then password. In my case, it is summa123. I'm not going to hide this password from you. Before start coding, we have to add reference for MySQL DLL. For that, right click on reference here, then add reference, then click on browse here. Then you have to select the MySQL.data.dll from the MySQL installation directory. In my case, it is inside C drive, then program files x86, then MySQL connector, assemblies, then framework version. So I'm going to select this MySQL.data.dll, then click on add, then click on OK. Now we can start our coding. Before that, let me import the namespace using MySQL.data.MySQL client, and I'm going to use using statement here. Here I'm going to use MySQL connection object as the resource. So MySQL connection as MySQL con equals new MySQL connection. Inside that we can pass our connection string. That's it. Inside the using statement, we will open our connection like this: MySQL con.open, and below that we will write our code here. If you are using statement in C# for the first time, keep in mind that this is a best practice in C# to interact with database, because inside the using statement we will open our connection here and we will do the operation. We don't want to close the connection. Using statement will take care of that. Other than that, there are some advantages, like suppose you have a number of codes to execute inside this using statement, and in between the execution, if you have any error, you will go out of this using statement, even though using statement will close the connection for us. So always try to use using statement if you are going to interact with database like MySQL or MS SQL or any other database. So first of all, I'm going to declare MySQL command here. MySQL command equals MySQL cmd equals new MySQL command. Inside that we will pass our store procedure name. It is book add or edit, and second parameter we will pass the MySQL connection object, MySQL con. Below that we have to specify the MySQL command type here. So command type equals command type dot stored procedure. Below that we have to pass values for parameters here. MySQL cmd dot parameters dot add with value. Here we have to pass the parameter value here. It was book ID. Let me declare a variable for this book ID here, int book ID, and I will pass this book ID into this store procedure here. And after that we have to pass 3 more parameters like this. So I will copy paste this line 3 times. Instead of book ID we have book name, and we will pass the book name value from txt bookname.text. And finally I will call the function trim in order to avoid spaces from both sides. Then we have author, Finally, I will execute the store procedure by calling execute non-query. Finally, I will show the success message using message box.show. Success message will be submitted successfully. Before executing this project, let me initialize this book ID to 0. I think database name is different. Yes, it is different in case book db. That's it. Let me run this application. For that, you can use the shortcut F5, or you can click on the start button here. Book 1, then author 1, then description. Click on save. So it shows success message. Click on OK. Let me check the table. Right click on book table, then click on select rows. So here we have the newly added record. So we are completed with first CRUD operation. Now back to the application. Now I am going to show this new record or all the records into this data grid view. So let's check how we can do that. For that, I am going to create a new function here. It is called grid fill. Inside this function, we will retrieve all the records from our book table and we will bind that result into data grid view. For that, let me copy these lines from here and pasting here, and let me get rid of these lines from here. Instead of MySQL command, we need MySqL data adapter as SQLDA equals new MySQL data adapter. As the first parameter, we will pass store procedure name book view all MySQL connector as the second parameter, and we want to set this data adapter command type. So SQLDA dot select command dot command type equals command type dot store procedure. For this store procedure, we don't have any parameter, so I'm going to declare a data table here. Data table DTBL book equals new data table. Now we can execute this store procedure using SQL data adapter, and we will fill the result into this data table. For that, SQLDA dot fill, and we will pass this data table here DTBL book. We can bind this data table into our data grid view DGV book dot data source equals DTBL book. That's it. Now we can call this. Now we can invoke this function after saving a record that is inside the button save click event, and I want to call the same function inside the form load event. In order to generate the form load event, double click on this form. So I call the same function here in form load event also, and I have changed some of the properties of data grid view. I have changed allow user to add rows to false, allow user to delete rows to false, and then I have changed read only to true so that user can't change the values from the data grid view. That's it. Let me run this application. For that, click on the start button here. Here you can see the previously added book record for book 1. Let me add one more book, book 2, author 2, and then description. Click on save. So here we have the success message. Click on it, and here you can see it is refreshed. Here we can see the newly added book record. So now we have implemented insert and view all operation in this project. Now we have to reset or clear these form controls after operations like save, update or delete. So let's look how we can do that. Let me close this application and I'm going to create a function for that. Function name will be clear void clear. Inside that, basically we will clear all the controls like txt book name dot text equals txt author dot text equals txt description dot text equals, and we have to clear the search the text box also. Text equals empty string. That's it. This is how we can clear form controls like text boxes. Otherwise you can call the function clear like this, txt book name dot clear. That's it. So I tried this method here because it can be done with a single line. Next I am going to reset the book id variable. Book id equals 0. Finally we need to assign save string for this button text because it will change during update operation. So let's do that. btn save dot text equals save. That's it. Let me call this function during form load event, and I want to call the same function after adding a new record also. Next I am going to show you how we can implement the update operation. Here we have the application. If user want to update a record, he has to double click on this row and we will show the corresponding row details here, and we will change the button text to update. After changing these fields values, he can click on this update button here and we will update the record for him. Finally we will refresh this data grid view. So let's look how we can do that. Let me close this application here. First of all, we have to implement double click event of this data grid view. For that, right click on the grid view, then click on properties, then go to the events list, then look for double click. Here it is, double click on it so that it will create an event in the background. Now we have to hide the first column from the data grid view, that is book ID column. It is an ID column inside book table. We don't want to show ID column to users. For that, go to git fill function, then type dgv book dot columns, and we have to pass the column index here. First column index will be 0 dot visible equals false. Now back to the double click event. Inside this event we are going to populate data from the selected row into form controls. For that, if dgv book dot current row dot index not equal to -1, just to make sure that selected row is inside the data grid view. Now we can start populating the form controls. First of all, we have book name dot text equals dgv dot current row dot cell. Inside that we can pass the column index 1 dot value to string. That's it. In the same way we can populate remaining two form elements. For that, let me copy this line and pasting below that 2 times. Let me change this text box name here, txt author. Corresponding column name will be 2. For description, it is txt description. Corresponding column index will be 3. Now I want to set the book ID variable that we have used here inside our insert operation. We will set this book ID to selected row book ID, convert to int32. Inside that we will pass first column value, first column index will be 0. That's it. Finally we will set the save button text to update. Now let's look how it works. Click on the start button here, double click on this first row. So here we have the details of book 1, author 1, description. Now let me change this description to updated description. Now if I click on this update button, will it update the record? Yes, it will update because we have written code for updation during the save operation. Let me click on this update button here. So submitted successfully. Please note that this description should be updated to new description. Click on this OK. So it is updated. Now let me show you how it works. During the double click event, we have set corresponding book ID to the variable book ID. During the save button click event, we have passed the book ID here, where if it is 0, it will insert new record. If it is a non-zero, it will update the corresponding record. That's it. Now we have come a long way to the end of this project. Now we have two operations left. One is search and another one is delete operation. Next we are going to implement search operation. For that we have one text box, one search button and a data grid view. Based on the search term entered into this text box, we will show result inside this data grid view. For that we have a stored procedure here, book search by value. This stored procedure will retrieve all the records which contains search value either in book name column or in author column. Sorry, we have made a mistake here. Instead of plus we have to use comma here. Since concat is a function, we have to pass parameters using comma. In order to update this stored procedure, click on apply here and now click on finish. That's it. Now back to Visual Studio. I'm going to implement this search operation using this button. Click event of this button. To generate the event, double click on this button. Inside this event, I'm going to copy paste code from grid fill function and pasting here. Instead of this stored procedure, we have to call this book search by value stored procedure. Copy from here and paste the stored procedure name here. We have a parameter for this stored procedure, so we can pass the parameter like this: sqlda.select command dot parameters dot add with value. First of all, we will pass our parameter name underscore search value, pasting here, and we will pass the search value from our text box txt search.text, and we will fill the result into this data table and we will bind that data table into data grid view. Finally, we will hide the first column inside this data grid view. That's it. Let me run this application. For that, click on this start button here. Let me add two more books into this application: DC books, author, DC author, description, save. We have 4 books here. Now I want to search for books starting with DC, so I will type books, click on search. So here we have the book. Now if I want to show books which contains 2, type 2 here and click on search. That's it. So whatever typed inside this search box will be matched with this book name and author column. If it is there, those rows will be displayed in this data grid view. We have created a function to clear all these form elements. Now I want to call that function inside this cancel button click event. Let me do that. Go to form design, then double click on this cancel button, then call that function clear. That's it. Finally, we are going to implement delete operation. If user want to delete or update a record, he has to double click on that row. We will show details of the record here. He can update using this update button. He can delete using this delete button. So we have to disable this delete button if there is no record selected for delete or update operation. For that, I am going to edit clear function like this: btn delete dot enabled equals false, and I will do the reverse process. During the data grid view, double click, I will enable that button. In order to implement delete operation, we have to use button click event of this delete button. Double click on that. Inside this event, we are going to implement the delete operation. For that, I am going to copy code from our insert or save button click event and pasting here. Instead of this stored procedure, we have to use book delete by id stored procedure. Let me copy the stored procedure name from here and pasting here. We have only one parameter. Let me get rid of other parameters and we will execute that stored procedure here, and finally we will show the success message as deleted successfully. And we want to invoke these two functions in order to update the application. Now let me run this application. For that, click on F5. Now I want to delete this second record, that is row for book 2. Double click on that. In order to delete this record, click on delete now. That's it. Click on OK. So we have refreshed our application. Finally, our data grid view is refreshed. That's it guys. In this video we have discussed how we can implement CRUD operations like insert, update, delete, view and search in C# applications using MySQL Server. You can download this project source code with DB script from the link given below in video description. Please be subscribed to this channel .NET Mob for more awesome videos like this. Please like and share this video with your friends and colleagues so that they can benefit from this. If you have a doubt or a feedback, please comment below in comment box. Have a nice day. Bye.